Shop Dog and I are at it again. All right, so I think the last thing I showed was I got that fender cut out on the passenger side. Then I was gonna start shaping up some wire and stuff for these fenders to kind of wireframe up what I want to do for the fender flares. And I thought, you know what would be really easy is if I had the shape of the fender traced out on some poster board. So I got, thanks to Amazon, a couple day delivery, got 25 sheets of poster board there. And I think it's pretty decent stuff. So what I did, as you can see here, I got it cut out for the brake rotor and caliper there, so it wouldn't be bunching up and holding that out and giving it an odd shape or distorting things. So I got this all taped up on there and for the rear one. And I'm just going to take a marker, climb under there with a light, and just trace from the inside, just trace out the shape of the fender. Simple as that. Like I may have mentioned before, my key here is I really want to keep the OE fender shape. So I don't know if people have seen the fiberglass one, the Chicane 23. I don't know if that's the name of the company or just the model of the fender flare, but those fiberglass ones that you can mold onto the fender, I like the looks of those. I just want to do steel. But they keep this nice shape, and to me it almost looks like this lip here. This vertical lip on the extent of that fender flare is a little bit taller on the Chicane 23, the fiberglass ones. But that's basically what I want to do, is mimic those same fender flares, but I want to build it all out of steel. So therefore, that's what I'm doing with the tag board here, is getting the shape of that fender. And I'm going to pull out one of those fenders too and get the shape of that front fender. And then I'm going to use that. And I'll just kind of tell you my game plan. So I got this TIG welding wire. And you can see I was experimenting with it a little bit. But I thought it just got to be a little bit too hard trying to shape it against just the fender itself. So that's why I'm tracing out the shape of the fenders on tag board. Then I can just take that welding rod, weld a few pieces of them together to each other, like I kind of have here. And please excuse the mess. And then I'm going to take that wire and bend it to fit what I have, what I trace out for that. But I figure I can mirror this. This should be good for working on both sides, because I'll just keep that in mind when I'm bending the wire, which side of the car I'm working on. So just in case the shape of the fender is slightly different from side to, or I don't know if it tapers off different front to back or whatever, but I'll keep that in mind when I'm working on this, or try to. Well, only human, so I can imagine I'll make a mistake at some point. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the front fender flares and start tracing some of that stuff out and getting that done. All right, I talked through my process a little bit, so here's the end result. So this is the left rear fender inside facing the front. Like I said, I just went inside and traced around the fender, and just kind of looking at it, like how the light had shone through here. I'm thinking I'm gonna add about like maybe a 1/4 inch like a line that's another 1/4 inch upper outer, however you want to call that, from here. Or keep that in mind as I'm bending up some wire. But yeah, this should be interesting, trying to figure all this out. So what I'm thinking I'll do is bend a wire that kind of matches this arc, then maybe draw another line that's about an inch, like an inch out yet from here, to kind of use as kind of a fender lip, like this here. And then work on building like a framework out from the side of the car out to this fender lip here. So wish me luck. gonna get started on this. Well, not tonight. I gotta cut that fender out first, and then I'm gonna trace out, do the same thing just with one of these front fenders. And then I'll have what I need, I think. All right, take 2 of this one. So I kind of decided I wanted to have more room for like drawing lines for a framework. And the one that I did before, the tag board, poster board ended kind of like right there. So I got a little smart, and instead of having the tag board in portrait mode, or landscape mode, I got it in portrait mode now basically. So it's about the same length as what it was before, but I ended up running it all the way up to the bottom of the quarter window here, so I kind of got a good frame. What's the word for it? I have a good framework to work with this poster board, this tag board, because I know that's going to be at the bottom of the window basically. So whatever I do, I don't want to be getting up too close. Maybe I'll go along and mark off where this body line is too, or I can always measure down from the window too and just draw that in there. But as you can see, just with the shape of the body, everything kind of bows in and curls around. I can't get this tag board completely flat back here, so it just kind of just shows kind of how that middle shrinks around and moves around, or was shaped over the original dies of the body, that this piece of paper doesn't fold flat against it here. So yeah, I'm gonna go back in, trace that fender out. All right, so here's the inside of the rear fender. So again, this is the bottom of the quarter window. I should have drew where the back edge of the window was. I thought I'd show this. So this is the passenger front fender to replace the yellow one eventually. So I taped this on, and I taped it on so the tag board was just even with the bottom edge of that fender, because I kind of wanted to get most of the way up this. Maybe as I flip it over, I'll kind of mark where that one body line is, where the top of the fender is, that sort of thing. But just thought I'd show that's kind of the process there. So I'll just pick the fender up here, flip it back over, but you can kind of get the idea of so you kind of get the idea of how I kind of went about this there. Just kind of taped it onto the outside of the fender, traced the inside fender lip. So that's where it be. I wanted to add one more thing so that I have it kind of locked into memory and documented. So I did move this back edge of the fender ahead 3/4 of an inch, and I moved the front opening on this practice fender. I had 2 3/4 inches, so I got roughly 2-inch filler there. So just keeping that in mind, I kept an overlap here, so I can take my template and just add another 2 inches to it if I need to, so that I can build out my fender. And you can definitely see that it does arc more, or slope out more towards the front. Wink. Cool. All right. Shop dog's tired. I think it's time to go in.